'Tis this place where we are meeting, only a house, the earth is floor, walls and a roof, sheltering people, windows for light, an open door. Yet it becomes a body that lives when we are gathered here, and know our God is near. Words from afar, stars that are falling, sparks that are sown in us like seed.
One of the ways that we have been able to be productive with respect to Laurelville is to help sort through the tremendous archival treasure of these 75 years. I mean, it is, there are countless PhD theses and dissertations that are in those archives that could be worked at. And Alice and I worked hard in getting that together.
Well, I can't separate the memories of AJ from Alta, but in terms of Laurelville, for example, and I think this was in many ways typical, having a developing conviction of the needs of young people in the church. In my own years of employment, I worked for church agencies, Mennonite Board of Missions, Goshen College, and those choices were influenced by my parents, but they also raised questions. What are the demands of working for the church? Like, as a kid, Dad often wasn't home. He was out preaching or going to Chicago for meetings and so on. But the commitment to the church as a foundation for and to faith for life choices, yes, was very important.
Well, this Good Camper Award here, when I was 11 years old, my grandson here is 11 years old, and I see a lot of the qualities that I have on this Good Camper Award, I see in him. You know, a lot of life, a lot of movement, a lot going on, a lot of, how shall I say, fun, and he gets part of this from his grandpa on the other side too. Maynard's always moving, wide open. He's more so than me. So this poor fella has it on both sides of just a lot of life and a lot of movement and a lot of get up and go. So I wanted to say that he's the same age that I was in 1945.
At that time, the cabins that were here, they were still in the paint schemes of the original Methodist owners. So some of the cabins were light blue and had names like Dewdrop Inn, and others were painted sort of a pink, and they were called Fernery, and they had old barrels, oil barrels to catch the rainwater and the like, and everything was fairly primitive. But eventually the camp got sort of enlarged and improved, and I was later on asked to come up with a uniform color scheme and a uniform lettering scheme. And at that time I suggested that the buildings would be renamed to names from significant times and moments in Mennonite history. And that's where names like Emmental and Oldesloe, the place where Menno Simons lived and died in the final years of his life, became the names for the different facilities around here.
My responsibility was try to develop a program in what we then called church renewal. I was assigned or tasked with figuring out ways that Laurelville could reach out. It seemed like Laurelville was looking for new ways to effectively do renewal. And so I became convinced and was hired that we had a real mission in the local congregation. That was the focus. And one of the greatest experiences was traveling with AJ. We would go out and I just watched him in action. And I just marveled at his incredible kind of energy and eagerness to walk into the future somehow. And I think he probably saw Laurelville as something that where he could work at that.
When I was first looking to come on board was to help Laurelville grow and blossom into this place that not only was true to its roots and the Anabaptist faith and traditions, but yet to grow from there and to support.
One of my first memories of Laurelville was in college. Ken Knopfsinger, I was in Chambers, and he had brought us all up to the Music and Worship Leaders Workshop Week, and he and Marlene Croft really did a bang-up job. It was a very special occasion. I still remember that from college, and we performed and did a number of things there.
Well, Laurelville is a beautiful place, and being with the people here this weekend, I think the most meaningful thing for me is to spend time with them and just hear their amazing stories.
My perception of this place is that it's a place where it's okay to be different, and where everybody doesn't have to be the same, doesn't have to fit in the same mold. So my experience after being here for a few days now is that I was right about that. Is that there are a lot of different kind of people here, and people have the capacity to love and care for each other and walk with each other and not make everybody be sort of the same. I recognize that everybody is trying to follow Spirit in the best way that they know how. In the sense that this is one large community that we're maybe just on the edge of right now, and that a lot of different people are welcome here, and that you don't all have to be the same.
What motivates me to work at Laurelville as director is just the fact that I went here all my life as a camper and was really mentored by all the counselors and then directors that I was under and then worked under. Just a lot of really important mentors for me in my life, and I'm just trying to in some way emulate that for the people who are working for me now and for the campers who are at camp this summer.
Well, summer camp is one of my favorite experiences of my childhood. I went every year, not here, but to a different one, and I loved every second of it, and I want to come back and make that experience for other people. Watching girls learn how to work together and work through adversity in a setting like this where we can all be there for each other, and we all have the ultimate goal of praising God and with all that we do. And it's always very rewarding to watch people learn how to work together.
I have fond memories of playing in the mud games this past year. That's a new tradition that I very much enjoy, is playing in the mud and having competitions of rolling down the mud pit. I often enjoy jumping off the waterfall at Jacobs Creek and also sleeping on Sunset Hill. And the polar bear swim is a big highlight in the mornings. At 7 a.m. we always go and jump in the pool at 7 o'clock. And it's always fun to reconnect with my friends that I haven't seen for a long time.
The biggest challenges for directing are just keeping everything running smoothly, because there's so many moving parts in summer camp at all times. There's a bunch of things to set up, and there's games, there's food prep, there's all of the documentation, posting pictures, keeping the parents updated on what's going on. Just a ton of moving parts that are going on the whole time that I have to take care of.
So this summer at camp, I went to Disciples and we went whitewater rafting, which was really fun. We got to experience going down a whole bunch of rapids that were some of them were really steep, and some people fell out and we had to pull them back in. The counselors there have great values, and so do the directors, and it's a great place to reconnect with friends. My great memories of Laurelville is the continuing growing of my faith that has happened there at camp, especially. It was there, I think in 2015 or 2016, that I decided to commit my life to Jesus, and then the next spring, this past spring, on April 16th, I got baptized at my church.
We all know the more you're involved in something, whether that's giving or on a board or doing volunteer hours. I mean, the volunteer work is unbelievable. Each time that people are given awards or recognized for that, I'm amazed at the number of just great level of commitment we have. So Laurelville is made up of people who make a difference. The board helps facilitate these things, but the dream has to live in someone. And the dream has to live in people that are on the board and do volunteer and at all levels.
Real draw here, and hearing about the Mennonite faith and the Mennonite traditions and the Anabaptist peace-filled portion of it, I really found myself in alignment with the core values of the Mennonite faith that fall directly in line with what I believe. So I felt drawn here. I felt drawn to the people, felt drawn to the mission, and I felt God was calling me.
Laurelville acts as a special community and really as a congregation, and every time I go up there spring and fall and other times, it feels like a congregation. And there's special community aspects that happen in board meetings or other 75th or different kinds of celebration activities and organizations. It's wonderful.